Welcome to the sequence of week 8. In essence, we will be going through a lot of the poses we did last week as well. In addition, I will have a bit more explanation on Ardha Sirsasana. Maybe we can do a few preparatory poses, which is not technically part of the sequence, but hopefully that will help you in terms of understanding what we need to build strength in, which part of the body needs to become stronger, and therefore Ardha Sirsasana becomes an easier pose for you to practice or even attempt. So let us begin. As always, we start with the invocation and chanting Om 3 times. So center yourself, bring the fingertips close to the sides of the body, press down, lift the sacrum, lift both sides of the chest, roll the outer shoulders back, bring your upper arms closer towards the back, and move the shoulder blades in. It's important that we take the outer shoulders back and also move them down away from the neck. At the same time, press the fingertips and lift the base of the spine up, ascending the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Keep this lift and length of your spine as best as you can, and then bring the palms of the hand and let it rest at the center of your chest. Let's close our eyes for a few moments. Settle your awareness into the sensations of the body, observing the natural flow of breath, soft, smooth inhale, and soft, smooth exhale. Now slowly begin to take another deep, long inhalation. Yogena chitasya padena vacha malam sharirasya chavaidakena yopakarotam pravaram munina Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi abahu purushakaram Shankha-chakra sidharinam sahasra shirasam shvetam pranamami patanjalim Harihi Om. Now slowly begin to lift your head up, release the hands, and open your eyes. Let us start by coming up into Samasthiti. Position yourself on the center of your mat. Evenly press the bottom of the feet down. Keep your big toes touching. Take your attention to the lower leg. Hug the outer shin bones in. Move the inner thighs back. The outer hips come firmly into the body. Evenly press the bottom of the feet down into the floor. And then take your attention to the sides of the waistline, lifting the waistline up, lifting the armpit chest up. Roll the outer shoulders back. Moving from the top of the outer shoulder down towards the fingertips. Stand tall, looking straight, observing the natural flow of breath, getting ready for your practice. Have a sense of awareness of your whole body, the front, the back, the sides. Now from here, we're going to start with our first basic standing pose. So go ahead, bring your hands close to the center of the chest, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Extend the arms from the center of the chest, press the feet evenly down. Let's start by turning our right leg out completely, turning your right toe, knee, and thigh. Turn your left toe slightly in. Maintain the length and lift of the sternum, keeping your head looking forward, lengthening the right side of the torso. Go down, taking your hand down. Use the top arm to lift the chest. If you've got the chest facing forward and you have no issue in the neck, you can turn your head to gaze towards your thumb. Maintain the lift and length of your spine. Press the feet evenly into the floor. Keep both sides of your waistline long. Upper arm, the left upper arm lifts the left side of the shoulder up towards the fingertips. Now use the left arm. Lift yourself up. Come up. Now turn your right toes in. Keep the spreading of the chest. Turn your left leg out completely. Turn your right toes slightly in. Keep the weight heavy. Remember to keep the outer edge of your right heel firm. Expand the chest from the center. Press the left foot down. Lengthening the left side of the body, going down from the hip. Taking your hand down. Use the top arm to lift the chest up. Turn from the left side of the abdomen to the right, left side of the armpit to the right. And then if you're able to, turn your head to look up, gaze up towards your right thumb. Evenly take your attention to your feet. Press your right foot, left foot. See that the weight is not falling to the outer edge of your left little toe. Instead, press your left big toe, the inner ankle, firmly into the mat. Now use the top right arm. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Jump and bring yourself back. If you need blocks, you can of course take blocks, or if you are, but I will just do the pose without the block so that you also are aware of what the pose looks like when we do not use props. Bring your hands in the center of the chest. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Stretch the arms from the center of the chest. Take a good distance because we're going to bend our right knee. Keep the chest open, facing forward. Turn your right leg out completely. Turn your left toe slightly in. Keep the weight heavy on the heel. Remember to really stamp that outer edge as you begin to bend your leg because you want to keep that. Go down to a 90-degree angle. Elongate the whole side of your body. You want to make contact as much as possible towards the thigh. Take your hand here at the on your left hip, but you have to turn the abdomen, turn the chest, turn the shoulders. Make your left leg firm and then reach with your arm, extend it. The whole left side of the body should be turning up so that you can then turn your head and gaze towards your fingertips. You want to line up your arm in such a way so that it extends from the hip all the way into the arm, but also from the hip all the way in the opposite direction to the foot. Lower your left hip down, move your right knee to the right arm, but turn your chest facing forward. Now use the top arm, inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. You can take the hands down if that feels better for you. Readjust your feet. Keep the chest open, head back. Turn your left leg out completely. Turn your right toes in. Press the outer edge of the heel. Lift the side chest. Begin to bend your left knee as you go down till you're in a 90-degree angle with your thigh. Then extend the whole left side of the waistline. See if you can get your armpit to touch. You can place your hands on the floor. Remember, you can always use a block if you need that. Now start to lengthen the upper arm as you turn. We have to move our left knee to the arm, but we have to turn from the waistline, turn from the chest so that our whole chest faces forward. At the same time, see that your right outer hip is down, You're stamping into the outer edge of your right heel and stretching the right arm up and away. If you're fine with any and have no neck issue, you may turn your head to look towards your inner elbow. Now turn your head to face forward. Use the top arm. Inhale and come up. Turn your toes in. Jump and walk your legs back. Once more, settling down, pausing for a few moments in Samasthiti or Tarasana. Have a quick look. Like I always like to check a little bit to see that my feet are placed correctly, because they do shift when we move around, don't they? So yes, so it's a good practice. Just look down, see that your feet are pressing evenly down. Bring your outer hips in, lift the chest and look straight. Observe the breath, normal soft inhale and exhale. So the next pose is Virabhadrasana 1. We have also done this, so let's go for it directly without too much instruction. Bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Now we work with the arms lifted in this situation. So rotate this back armpit. In fact, we are going to use that a little bit for the next pose. So try to bring the back armpit forward, moving the front armpit back. So you create this rotation aspect of the arm. In fact, we are going to revisit this. Can you see how I'm taking my inner shoulder back and my outer shoulder forward? That means the space between the shoulder blades is spreading as opposed to compressing. You can see the difference, right? So I have to spread, roll these upper arms forward and tightening the elbow without lifting the shoulders. Lift the side chest up. So you're lifting your torso with the help of the arms and keep that rotation. Now let's turn towards our right. So you turn your left leg in, press the outer edge of the left heel, turn your right leg out completely, keep the extension of the arms and start to turn from the pelvis, turn from the chest, keep the rotation of the arm. You can bring your upper arms behind your head so it moves the shoulder blades in. Look slightly upward and bend your front leg. Go down as low as you can. Remember to bring your left side of the chest forward, but your left leg is firm and straight. Now use the hands. Inhale and come up. Turn yourself to face forward. You can again take your arms down if you wish, or as a challenge, keep them up. Roll the inner shoulders, bring the outer deltoids in, press into the feet. Lift up, stretch up, turn towards your left. So you're going to turn your left leg out completely, turn your right toes in, keep that leg back, the hip back, but it's the back of the thigh that starts to turn. Don't let that thigh come forward. Turn the back of the body, the chest, stay on the back leg, but now start moving from the left sitting bone towards the back of the knee as you bend. Don't lean back with your chest. Go upward with your chest as you descend down. You're ascending, you're in the center. I had to widen my legs to go down a little bit more and lift the arms up. Take your upper arms back so it opens the dorsal spine. Turn your chest facing forward, go down from the hips, keep the back leg straight. Extend up, reach up. Inhale and come up. Turn yourself around. Bring your hands down, jump, and you're back to the center. That is strong, hard work for the arms for sure, but that is also what makes our arms more, what should I say? It makes your arms stronger, that's sure, but also kind of builds a resistance because we are having to lift against gravity, right? And it's actually, though it looks kind of simple, but it's not that simple. I think you can sense that. All right, let's move on to Parivitta Trikonasana. I am doing today's sequence a little bit without props so that you know that when you have that openness of the body, how the pose can look. But please, you need to take a block at this stage of the practice. Please do so. But it's always good to have a view so that you know what the pose would look like, right? Otherwise, you kind of think, that's what the pose looks like all the time. So this gives you an understanding of doing the pose, but what parts of the body have to open in order not to use the props. So let's start with Parivitta Trikonasana. So you're going to bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, jump and spread your legs out. Have a good distance between your feet. Now we are turning towards our right. So turn your right leg out completely. Turn your left toes slightly in, similar to the previous pose. Now let's go with the arms outstretched. So as you start turning from the hip, remember that armpit action. You're rotating here, so you can start to bring that armpit forward. Don't throw your head forward. Keep your head back so you maintain the lift. We've always been working on this, lifting from the pubic bone up. Now maintain that lift as you take your arm across. Now, not only are you going down straight, you're also turning from here, right? So you're turning. But see that I'm resisting my arm. I'm trying to take my chest down. Yes, I'm taking my armpit down. And as I go down, and I can place my hand on my outside of the leg as long as my legs are straight. Then from here, I have to work this shoulder back, turn my abdomen. If my hand touches the floor, I can go for it, but my whole side body has to go down. At the same time, you have to lift the top arm up. Keep your head back. In fact, I want to show you what happens. I know you're not looking at my face, but if I take my head to the wall, the upper back gets rounded. This is the kind of rounded dorsal spine. And what we want to do is by elongating, rolling it down, taking our head back, we can move this back rib into the body. Yeah, and that's an important part of learning. Even when we are going to go for Ardha Sirsasana, can we mobilize that back rib? Can we take the shoulders down and lift up and move that outer hip, keeping the legs really straight and strong? Now to come up, look forward like you are going to stretch. Stretch your arm and come up. Turn your toes in, jump your legs back, and come back to the center. Take a pause. Once more, joining your feet. Press the bottom of your feet down. Roll the outer shoulders back. Elbows tight, looking straight. Now let's go for Parivitta Trikonasana on the left side. Bring your hands in the center. Bend your knees. Jump and spread your legs out. Chest open. Expand the arms from the center of the chest. Let's turn our left leg out completely. Turn your right toes slightly in. Stamp the outer edges of the heels, working from the armpit chest. Because these are the rotations we've already practiced, remember? The back, the hip, the ribs. So now it's a continuation of the rotation. So don't let your arm come forward. Start turning, keeping your head back, chest forward, go long. See where your hand goes. You can hold the ankle. Or if you're not able to, you can go higher. Or you can place your hand down flat on the inside. And if you're a bit more open, you can even go on the outside. Then what we have to do is still keep the weight back on the leg. Still turn these ribs down. Head back. Hip back into the body. Press that front big toe down so the hip goes back. So you're not going forward. Yeah, we have to work on these aspects. And then from here, reach up, stretch up. Head back. Go back to that back leg. Make that back leg straight. Keep your head back and even look forward. That also gives you a bit more work on that dorsal spine. And then from there, look forward. Be strong in the legs. Reach with your arm. Oops, I almost lost balance. And then from here, turn your toes in. Jump and walk your legs back. Great. Take a moment. Stand with your feet together. Roll the outer shoulders back. Elbows tight. Smooth inhale and smooth exhale. Observing the natural flow of breath as we return back to our center. Guess what's next? Ardha Chandrasana. So here too, I'm not using a prop today, but of course, you can use your hand on a block as you need. Starting out with Ardha Chandrasana on the right side. Knowing that I have a wall, I'm going to slightly shift my mat so that I don't crash my head into the wall. Okay? So let's be here then. Now stand with your feet together. Bring your hands in the center. Bend your knees. Jump and spread your legs out. Chest open. Head back. Turn your right leg up. Turn your left foot in. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Go down to Trikonasana. Bend your knee. Come to Parsvakonasana. Keep lifting with the arm. Today we're going to do with the arm lifting. Bring your back leg closer. Walk your hand so it's directly underneath the shoulder. Remember, your hand is a little bit behind your leg, not in front. Yeah, that's difficult to balance because that's how you can turn the back rib. You see the connections. I'm stopping you here because I want you to understand how you press your hand and how you turn your chest was very similar to what we did previously before. And some of you can even be here if you find getting that leg up is a little bit tricky, but you go up. And ideally, in Ardha Chandrasana, the torso is a little bit more angular, as you can see, so that you can press and turn and keep the arm lifted. Be firm on that bottom arm, stretch to the leg, and see that you're more on the heel. Look straight. Extend the fingers, stretch your leg. Now to come down, let's do it well. Throw that leg back. Yes, you can do it. Come back into Parsvakonasana. Come up into Trikonasana. And now inhale and come up. Turn your toes in, jump, and come back. Pause, take a moment. Stand with your big toes closed, rolling those outer shoulders back, elbows tight, observing the breath, pressing firmly down to the feet. Let's go to the other side. Bring your hands in the center, bend your knees, and jump and spread the legs out. Press the bottom of the feet, spread out from the center of the chest, head back, and now we go for Ardha Chandrasana on the left side. So turn your left leg out completely and go down to Trikonasana. Then from here, Parsvakonasana. Then we reach our hands forward. We come forward. I had to take my hands a little bit ahead and now stamp into this bottom leg. Remember to keep this knee tends to come forward. Keep that rotation, so that you can straighten your leg. When you reach your top arm up, you have to lift that side of the chest. Be conscious of the left upper arm. Bring it in. Now turn your abdomen, turn your chest, and stretch the leg. Stretch the inner bottom foot. So from the inner leg, you have to extend as you reach with your arm. Keep the leg straight, keep extending, keep your outer hips firm. So the torso goes forward towards the head, but the legs extend in the opposite direction. Use the top arm, like in Trikonasana, to lift the chest. I was a bit off, so I'm going back into my heel, tightening my left thigh. Now bend your knee. Parsvakonasana. Trikonasana. Come up. Now that's something you can practice daily and see, set yourself a challenge and say, okay, I'm going to practice that thrice a week, just that. And then you will be surprised that you can actually improve. And that is really the truth of any kind of practice. Consistently showing up and doing the practice. Nothing else. There is no shortcut. So what seems easy, when you look at it and say, how's that possible? It's because you spend hours doing it, right? So go ahead and own it and do your own practice. Good luck on that. Because now you have the resources. Where's the excuse? Okay, enough talk. Let's continue. So what's the next pose? It's Uttanasana. Uttanasana right now is given in your sequence a little bit to give you a break. Though we had a good chat, right? We weren't really having a break. So toes pointing straight. And you can stand with your feet hip distance apart. Shift your weight back into the heels. Tighten your thighs. Again, inner thighs back. Spreading the back of the thighs. Keeping the hip lifting as you roll forward. Elongating the torso. Go down. Let's be in our concave back situation. It's, again, a very similar movement, right? In Ardha Chandrasana. In fact, if I asked you to go to Ardha, I'm going to do this. It's not part of the sequence, but you must understand how there's a relationship. If I asked you, stay here and come up from here into Ardha Chandrasana, right? It's kind of like Uttanasana. So that could be the second level of your challenge. So right now, you're not doing that, but that's how it's very similar. Same torso connection. And that's the fun thing about Iyengar Yoga. Like, all these poses have sort of similar nature because after all, it is working on the same aspects of the body. So press your hands down, elongate your torso, move that dorsal spine in, and keep the legs tight. If you are fine with no rounded back here and your hamstrings are open enough, you may attempt to elongate your torso down. And you have to just watch that your legs remain straight and your front body is not shortening or your head is not digging in. Yeah, so that is important because all that good work is kind of lost with this movement. We want this length. So it's a very good pose if you're here. However, I'm just demoing the whole pose so you know what it looks like. So you shift a little bit forward, elongate the torso, go down, let the chest release. I'm actually holding my head back. You can notice I can bring my hands on either side of the feet. And at the same time, as I fall forward, I lengthen the belly, take my belly first, then my chest, and then finally the head. Here, the shoulders shouldn't come to your ears. Your shoulders should lift up, elbows straight. If you can grab your ankles, you can do so, lengthening down. You're dangerously falling a little bit towards your toes, but you're elongating your torso. Yeah. So thighs tight, going forward. Release the head down, knees tight. I have to work my legs. They can tend to bend, so I have to be very present and conscious and keep my legs working. Lifting the front of the thighs, the knees up, thighs up, and let the torso release. Shoulders up. Now from there, begin to look up. We're going to go for Padangustasana. Again, I'm doing it prop free. So if you bring the big 2 fingers, place it underneath your big toes and you evenly press the big toe down. So you're kind of pushing down. Sometimes it can be painful, especially if you have a rings or something. You might need to take that off for this pose. So you press your big toe and through the pressure, you lift your chest up. Yeah, so we are lifting our chest up. Have a quick look at your arms. Move this upper arm away from the thigh. So I resist and move the upper arm in. That gives me more connection with the shoulder blades. I move my shoulder blades into the back, pressing the legs, lengthening the torso forward. Again, it's so important to get this dorsal spine movement. And this is being emphasized because when we are going to do Ardha Sirsasana, the more we get our dorsal spine in, the easier it is. Whereas the more rounded it is, the neck and shoulders is tough. So spending time again, you could say, hey, I'm going to practice this movement kind of every day for 2 weeks. And then notice what happens. Lengthening that torso. And then again, if you're going to go down, you keep that back rib in. Try not to move that down. Moving the belly forward, chest forward, looking forward. Now finally the head down. And again, taking as best care as possible to lengthen the belly. Keep that dorsal spine in and let the crown of your head release. Remember to lift the shoulders away from the neck as you go forward and move the belly forward. Again, don't dig your chin down. Let the crown of your head go down to the floor. And this is also preparing you in a way because we are not used to having our head downwards, right? It's kind of training you to kind of get more focused on letting the head be all right with this downward position. So again, you're beginning to see the elegance of sequences. Because when we are taking our head down now, we are used to taking our head down. Now, lengthen the torso. Bring your hands on the hip. And inhale and come up. Okay. The good news is you're done with all the standing poses. So we are going to come down to the floor and you're going to sit in Virasana. So you can take a block. But as I said, I'm not using props today. So I'm going to demo the pose without a prop sitting in Virasana. However, you have the previous videos for reference to know how to place something for your support. So I position myself first on the side so you understand this. The big toes touch. Yeah, so the big toes touch, the knees stay apart. Before I start Virasana, it's always a good idea to put your hands like this. You see, I'm sliding my hand into that joint of the knee and then keep it there as you spread. So I spread the thickest part of your calf muscle. Keep that finger forward, moving this, keeping a kind of spaciousness. And then you sit down on the floor if that's possible for you. If not, you know you have to raise your height. What's also important is these outer shins not dropping out. They come in so that you can press the tops of the feet down and you press the feet down. Now, again, the side view is important because when we are sitting in Virasana and we place our hands on the tops of the feet, we can easily lift our sacrum. So we lift the sacrum, roll the shoulders back, move the back ribs in, and look straight. And today I'm going to so sitting in Virasana is an important position, head back, chest forward, shoulders back, extend that shin bone down, lift from the lower abdomen, lifting the whole pubic bone up, not letting it sink, lifting it up, moving the top of the sacrum in, moving the side chest in, and looking straight. Now we continue this upward movement in Parvatasana, which means you take your hands straight. Again, I'll stick to the side view because then you can understand more about our dorsal spine effect. Please take your right thumb on top of the left, interlace your hands, turn the palms out, keep a good clasp, moving that dorsal spining, being firm on the outer hips. With an inhalation, go ahead and stretch your arms up. Take your attention to these outer deltoids, right? You want to roll these in and you want to stretch this up. Keep your head neutral. You can work your arms back behind your head. Why is that? Because you can then move that dorsal spine in. Roll those outer deltoids. Keep the elbows tight and lift the side chest, taking the upper arms back. Now release. Let's change. So take your left thumb, interlace the hands, turn the palms out, spread through the palms of the hand, sitting down, keeping yourself more on the front of the sitting bones rather than falling to the back of the sitting bones, pressing evenly down, looking straight with an inhalation. Go ahead and stretch your arms up. Here too, we are moving the side chest up, armpits up, but those outer deltoids forward, upper arms tight, looking straight, looking slightly up maybe, so that you can lift the front of the chest, the sternum, and work the upper arms back. Remember, this inner shoulder goes back, outer shoulder comes forward, gives us that stability of the shoulder joint. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling. Chest up, look forward. Head stays neutral, arms can go back to further open the chest. Now slowly release and down. So this movement carries on in Adho Mukha Virasana. So how is that? We changed the leg position a little bit. So that means I'm going to stay on the center of the mat so it flows easily. You join your big toes, you move your knees a little bit apart, and you go down and sit on your hips. Yeah, so you are stable, your big toes have connected, you press your thighs down and lift the chest up, and now keeping the outer hips down, the thighs down, lifting the pelvis. We start by taking our hands forward, this is all very similar movements if you're trying to see. Remember, we do the concave back in Uttanasana. Where is the head? Up. Dorsal spine in. It's the same dorsal spine in. So you don't lift your hips. This part from the bottom, you are grounding, lifting the abdomen, lifting the chest. Look up a little bit as you stretch your arms forward. And you can keep walking your arms forward so it further moves the back ribs in. Now maintain this. What do we go down with? We did the same in Uttanasana. We took our belly down. Then we took our chest down. Then we take our armpit down. And then when keeping the hands straight, elbows tight, you can finally, carefully place the forehead down on the floor. But again, I'm going to show you if you can just lift your head. If you're already following, then just listen to the instructions. Press the hands, roll those outer deltoids down, inner shoulders up, keep the upper arm firm. Even as you're staying here, notice if you are not pressing in any part of your right or left thumb, and with your attention, go there and press that index right finger, index left finger, thumb, stretch the thumbs, and notice what's that doing for your shoulders. Because this is the whole beauty of yoga practice, that one action, creates a chain reaction down the body. And when we keep that action, that means, say, if I keep pressing my thumb down and my index finger down, then my shoulders stay in the right place. So you just have to pay attention to those two, the fingers, to keep your shoulders well. Now slowly lift your head up and we come up. So in a way, a little bit of that was to help you to understand the next pose. In fact, if from that position you come up, yeah, I had my arms extended. That is the best distance for you. Yeah, so we stretched our arms. So I got that extension. So my hands remain there. All you do is lift your hips up, and that's a good way to practice. Now separate out your feet, right? When we're going to go directly into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Remember I said, try to press your index finger down. So here too, you're going to really pay attention. And also here, this part of the hand, this portion, press it. Yeah, so I go back. I see my fingers are well aligned. I press it. I stretch my right thumb. My right thumb likes to bend, so I have to stretch it. That's my right shoulder. My left shoulder also can tend to go out. So I have to press that little finger down. And then I have a bit more control of my left shoulder. So right thumb, little finger of my left side. Now everything is working. Now look forward, moving that dorsal spine in, curl the toes under, looking forward, move back. And as you move back, move your hips back. And then if you need more distance, you take your legs back. Now press the index finger thumb, lift your elbows, lift your upper arms, but you can move the shoulder blades into the back. Where did we do this? We did it in Parvatasana. Remember, we took our arms behind, but we keep the shoulder blades in. Now, at the same time, you have to lift your inner shoulders, roll those outer shoulders down, keep the upper arms straight. Quickly check, is my index finger thumb okay? Now it's time for those legs, right? Tighten your thighs, pulling up the quadricep muscles, all the Sarvangasana work, and move the inner thighs back and stretch from the calf muscle down to the heel. Hold it as long as you wish. I'm going to hold it a little bit longer. Join me if you feel like it. Press the hands, thighs back. Keep the inner shoulders up, outer shoulders down. Spread the skin between the shoulder blades. Now slowly bend your knees and come down. Right, so from this position, we are also going to go for Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, right? So we did Adho Mukha Svanasana and we're going to do Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. So that is also to open the chest a little bit. So how would we go for Urdhva Mukha Svanasana? So you can go from Adho Mukha. So you have your hands firm. I'll bring my hands actually forward. Come up to Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then when you want to come to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, be very active with the legs. Press the ball mount of your feet. Lift your heels up. Look forward. Keep the legs tight. And go down as far as you can with your hip. But as you lower your hip down, stretch your inner legs. Lift your inner thighs. Press your hands. Taking your head back. Take your chest forward. Yeah, this is my chest. And my shoulders are ahead of my chest. So I have to stretch my legs and still take the shoulders back and try to move the chest forward, head back. So that is Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Inner legs long, chest up, look back. Now, from there, come up to Adho Mukha. Let's do that once more. Press your index finger thumb, elbows tight, upper arms tight, knees tight, and then go forward. Keep the upper arms tight. Go forward, keep your legs firm. This is part of the thing. You have to keep your legs really firm and straight. And press your hands as you come down. Once you're here, your buttock goes down, but your belly lifts up, chest lifts up, shoulder goes back, and chest goes forward. Stretch your inner legs. Lift the chest. And now from here, come back down in neutral position. And you can even rest in Adho Mukha Virasana. Yeah, and here you can be a little bit more restful. Let your head rest. Now from there, slowly start to come up. We're going to move to Dandasana. So sit straight. So I will continue with working without a prop. You know you can use a blanket, you know you can use a belt. So Press the shins down. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is because often there is a kind of misperception that Iyengar Yoga is all about props. Iyengar Yoga is not all about props. Props play a big role, but a lot of the practice can be done without it. But it's about how you do the poses. That is what makes it so unique and, in my opinion, amazing. Okay, so let's sit in Dandasana. Stretch your inner legs. So I extend my inner legs. I try to press the back of the thighs down, lifting the sacrum. Bring your hands behind. Press the hands down. Same thing in a way like we did Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. What did we do? We took our shoulders back. We moved our chest forward and head back. So this, this dorsal spine, what happens most of the time, if you look at, again, I tend to explain a little bit more, but maybe it's not such a bad idea. So on a general postural level, most of us can be a bit like this. Like our upper back is kind of stiff, our head is forward, right? And if we have to do most of our work, because we have a very flexible lumbar spine, we kind of just push forward from that area because that's the most movable one, and everything else up in this chain is kind of stiff. So through all these poses, what you're learning is you're trying to open up that tighter part of that body. And so when you press down, you lift up, you create the space, you roll those outer shoulders back. You keep the abdomen a little supportive, so you don't work from the lumbar spine, but you encourage this inner armpit to lift up. So inner armpit lifts up means your shoulders can go back, and you can bring your shoulder blades closer into the back, stretch your legs, and look forward. Yeah, so that's what moving that dorsal spine in is all about. And in a way, we've been practicing all these things when we do Uttanasana, concave back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. All these poses are emphasizing that same aspect. Now let's from here go over to Urdhva Hasta Dandasana. So go up with your arms. So stretch up. Virabhadrasana 3 action. What was that? We lifted the armpit up. Inner shoulders back, outer shoulders in. Keep that dorsal spine, because when you get this, you can move that dorsal spine in. Lift up, stretch your legs, and press the back of the thighs. You can lift the side chest, but don't round and collapse your back. Yeah, so this is what we don't want. So you have to lift your waistline, lift the sacrum, stretch the side body, move that dorsal spine in. Now slowly release and take your hands down. Next, we go for Paschimottanasana. So keep your legs straight, press down the thighs. The back of your thighs should be well grounded. Reach up with those arms, lift the side chest like we did in Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, Urdhva Hasta Dandasana. Urdhva Hasta, Hasta is this, Urdhva is upward, Dandasana is this seated straight-legged pose. So you lift up and you go forward. Try to keep your dorsal spine in as far as you can. Then go ahead and grab the outer edges of the feet or use a belt as needed. Similar, if you were to see me standing, like if I was standing on my feet, what would I have to do? I would have to lift those upper arms away so that I get more length on my back. My sacrum lifts, my dorsal spine moves in, and then the same dorsal spine. And what was the part we have to take down first? As you press your thighs, your belly first. Yeah, so you can stay here. You take your time. This is the part that has to change. Then you take your abdomen and keep looking forward. We have to keep our elbows up because the elbows are going forward in this direction. So it gives me the stretch. Remember the extension of the spine. In fact, take your arms long so it extends your spine. And then once you've got that full extension, belly down, chest down, you release your head down. But keep the arms lifted. You can take your chest down, keep the back of the legs, and rather than look back, your head is looking through the feet. Now pressing into the legs, come up and come back up. Okay, so the next thing is Janu Shirshasana. So let's bend the right leg. I'm going to turn around so you can look at the knee, right? So I'm going to turn myself around and actually this is fine. Yeah, start with bending your right leg. So you bend your right leg, your left leg is straight, and take your attention to your right thigh, draw it in, turn the hip, First, start with the arms up. Keep pressing your right thigh down. Lift the hip, turn the waistline, turn the chest, and go forward. Keeping that dorsal spine in. Try not to take your arms down too quickly. Remember, also in Parivitta, we were resisting. We were using these armpits to go forward. So use the same thinking. Then you come to this position. You hold on to your feet. Again, get that dorsal spine in. Move the back ribs in. This is the back rib. Notice how it was popping out now first. And so I use the arm to lift the side chest, lift my abdomen. So I have a little bit more mobility there. And now I have to turn like we've been doing for many of the standing poses, from the bent leg hip to the straight leg hip, right? So I have to turn from my right waistline to my left as I keep looking forward, extending the torso, going forward. Try to look up until the end and then rolling. Finally look down. Gaze more towards the feet so your whole body is elongating over your straight leg. Press that right thigh down. Move from the right waistline to the left. Keep the elbows lifted. Now inhale and come up. Change. Let's change the side. So we bend our left leg. I'm going to turn around so it's clear. You don't have to, of course. Turning the leg around. Keep the right inner leg extended. Use your hand against your left thigh. And also do watch that your hip is not back. Yeah. So because here the sacrum has to be even. So you do have to see that with the leg bent, you still have your hip level. You extend the leg out and then reach up with your arm. Turn from the abdomen, turn from the chest, moving that dorsal spine in. Go forward, reaching forward until you can grab your feet. Once more, extending this knee down from the groin, go to the knee. Turn from the abdominal area. So again, hold the feet. Lift your upper arms. Lift the side chest. Create length. Creating length. Then go forward. Keep your head lifted as much as you can. Turn from your left side of the abdomen to the right. Keep both elbows up. Keep gazing forward. Lengthening your torso. And then finally take your head down. Press the back of your knees. Keep the upper arms long, extended. And now pressing into the legs. Inhale and come up. Bring your hands back. Straighten your legs. We're going to do Paschimottanasana one more time because now we are used to these forward movements. So again, extend. See that the back of your thighs are spreading, evenly pressing down, pressing the outer hips down. Lift from the sacrum, lift from the side armpit chest. Stretch your arms out. Maintain the lift and length of your spine as you go forward. Hold on to your feet. Again, pressing the legs, lifting that sacrum, moving that sacrum in, and then go forward. Keep gazing forward, belly forward, then chest forward. Especially here, this loves to shrink. You can even use your hands and encourage that front rib to go over your thigh as you go forward. Stretch your inner legs, lift your elbows, and then lower your head down. Keep stretching your inner legs so your spine remains long. Because when we shorten our inner legs, we tend to go back with our torso. But if you keep stretching your inner heels longer and longer, and then you can go forward with the torso. Press the back of your thighs down. Keep your legs rooted. Now straighten yourself up and come up. Okay, so that finishes off our seated poses. So I did say that I am going to go over a little bit of Ardha Sirsasana. Okay, so let's get to that. So first of all, it's a good idea sometimes to have another folded blanket or a mat, yeah? So I'm going to show you first with a mat. So I'm going to get an extra mat. Okay, so at the color, you should be able to see it clearly. And I also want to show you 2 ways of, so Ardha Sirsasana, we are still practicing this, and we are going to do a little bit of, what should I say? A preparation work to get our shoulders to work for us. So this is what you're going to do. So it's a good idea to use the folded mat like this, and you can put your elbows on that edge so you know that your elbows are extended. Now, before you go down, really extend this wrist side. So you want to extend the bones as you go down, and then you interlace your hands. In terms of the clasp, you want to keep that semicircle because that's where the back of your head has to go, and don't squash the space because then where will your head go, right? So you have to keep that rounded connection of the back of the head. So let's continue. I put my elbows down, I extend my forearms, I clasp the fingers, and once you've clasped the fingers, keep that round semicircle between in your palm. Try to press the thumbs downward and then place the crown of your head. Yeah, so you're on the crown of the head. And remember, the hands are not dropping, they are resisting because the lift of the hands, and if you take your weight too much to the wrist, then you lose your shoulders. So can you see that I'm actually keeping my weight more on the middle of the forearm? I'm just moving it to show you. This is the middle of my forearm. If my weight goes there, my shoulders are moving. So I reset again because talking I readjusted. I put the crown of my head and I press my thumbs into each other. I resist the weight more to the middle of the forearm. And then from here, I can bring my knees close enough. Start to lift your legs up. Your legs have to be straight. All this work with Dandasana. Now, once you're here in the pose, lift the shoulders and the crown of the head lifts. Move that dorsal spine in, and you can walk closer. But you really have to see that your dorsal spine is not doing this. And I'm going to show you an option what you need to do if this is the case, right? But for now, if that's the case, you need to take your legs back. You need to press, lift those shoulders, keep those outer deltoids in, and see that your dorsal spine stays in. Lengthen from the armpit to the hip. Legs tight and come close. Moving that dorsal in. And now come down. Yeah, so that itself is hard work, right? So we're going to do a little bit of preparation work, and this is good for the shoulders. So it's kind of a modified connection. So this is what you do to get your shoulders to work. And what you will realize is when you do this up and down movement, you might find one elbow is going out. That's your weaker elbow. So it's a good thing to kind of do this repetition because that way you'll gain insight, and then that means you have to pay more attention to that part of the shoulder. So let's try. So here we go. We interlace our hands and we are in this position. You look at your elbows. And another small thing. Sorry, I need to add this point. The upper arms don't swing out because this makes the shoulders stable. So remember what we were talking about at the beginning of the class, how we said rotate your upper arms. The inner shoulder goes back, outer shoulder is back. So you have to kind of keep this rotational element going. That means I just want to show you here because it's easy to see. When I place my hand, right, if I let my elbow go out, you can see how there's a collapse that is happening because I have to lift my shoulder. So when you go down, you have to see this outer part of the elbow stays in. It doesn't swing out. That's instability for you. Yeah. So you have to keep that elbow in control. And that's why we have to learn to turn this muscle. Turn this muscle from the inside to the outside. We prepared armpit. Yeah, remember we've been doing this work. Armpit chest rotation, Virabhadrasana. Armpit chest rotation, Parivitta. This, you're preparing that connection. Okay, let us begin. Not let us begin, let us continue, right? Okay, so place your elbows, extend your forearms, interlace your hands, keep the extension. And this is the practice run we are going to do. Don't put your crown of your head down, but you stay here and then try to see if you can move legs strong, move your shoulders forward. So you have to watch as you move your shoulders forward, resist, roll those outer deltoids in and go back up. Again, keep that dorsal spine in. Go forward with your shoulders. And I really have to work, be more attentive because now I can really sense how my left arm tends to go out or my right side is pushing stronger. So I have to be quite conscious as I go, keeping that dorsal in and back. Yeah, so this is strong work on the shoulders. You want to challenge a little bit more? Walk in. This was slipping, right? So that's why I had to tuck it back in. So this is such a good exercise because you can immediately learn what tends to go and you can observe. Okay, my forearm, I have to roll. Now I really have to stabilize as I go forward and I have to go back. Who said yoga was easy? You can really get strong in your shoulders this way. So I have to really pay attention and go like this, yeah? So I can go forward and back. Go as far as you can, keeping that dorsal spine in and back. And by now I'm sure you're sweating. I am a little bit. So come down. Now let's repeat it again. Okay, so one last one. Interlace your hands, dig those elbows down. Weight is on the middle of the forearm. Deltoids, rotation. Even if you never get up to Shirshasana, you can still get strong on your shoulders just doing this practice because you're not weight bearing. So it's kind of safe as well. Everyone can do this. So let's begin. You place the crown of your head down. Now you're a bit more conscious. You press the middle of the forearm. Keep the hand like a support so your head is not pushing it. Lift those shoulders, roll those outer deltoids. You can just practice doing this today. Or if you want to lift your knees up, you have to sustain all of this. Outer shoulders in, pressing down, lifting the shoulders and walking forward. As you walk forward, keep lifting the shoulders. If your back is rounding, if you're in this position, you have to be wise enough to take your legs back. Dorsal in, roll those outer deltoids, press the middle of your forearm. Keep the hand supporting your head so it's not going back. Lengthen the forearm, tighten your thighs, lift your sitting bones. Now bend your knees, come down and rest in Adho Mukha Virasana. And now it's time for Sarvangasana. All right, you can stop the video, get all your props, and I will get mine. And I see you once you've set it up. So the props for Sarvangasana are set up. I've used a blanket because I want the blanket on the floor. I have three. I have I have 3 white blankets and 2 woolen blankets. So I need enough height so I can lift my shoulders. I've also thrown the blue mat over so I have a better leverage for my elbows. In a way, all that work with Shirshasana, keeping that outer elbow in, is quite relevant here in Sarvangasana as well. For today, I think I will use a belt. Yeah, so that will help me to keep my elbows in line and not let the elbows slip out. So I'm going to use a belt, and that way you can also remember. I think we've done a video with the belt. So first, how do I know the belt size is right for me? I just simply take it back behind and I do a test that it's not closing my shoulders, that I can still rotate and give this extension, right? So if I can do the rotation of the upper arm and still have my arms held in place, then that's the right size for me. So for now, also to get in, now that you have to keep your belt kind of hanging close to the side, it just gets better with practice. And then you first lay down. So you take your position, remember to sort of move your hairband or your hair as you need. Lift the back of your neck, keep it long, go down, get those outer shoulders in, keep the belt ready close to your upper arm. Keep it just a bit above the elbow, that helps. Now you can press your hands, you can bring your knees, you can also put a bolster. If you find lifting your bottom from the floor is tricky, and you go back. And again, I'm just taking my legs to the floor today. And
I'm adding another part because once I've taken my legs, you can always have your legs higher up on the chair. That doesn't matter. But you can grab this mat. And when you grab this mat, you get a better chance to tuck your shoulders in. And I need to walk my hips a little bit back because then I can really lift the chest. And here too, this is the dorsal spine, the back ribs rounding. I have to move that dorsal spine in and lift up. Now I want to put my belt. So I just reach with my arms. I slip the belt and I tuck my shoulder blades again. I stretch my arms. I take some time to really feel my outer shoulders are in, pinning down. I can even use my hands maybe if that's possible. And then I get a better lift from my back ribs. My hands can go a little lower. And spending a little time here really helps because then when you take your legs up one at a time, you're already quite extended from the dorsal spine. And then lifting is easy. And today the belt is helping me to keep my elbows in control so they're not slipping out. And lift your legs. Stretch your inner legs. Keep your thighs back, buttocks in. And we have to stay in the pose, so maybe you could do a little bit longer than a minute today or a minute and a half. And gradually, as we keep practicing, you can increase the hold. So for today, we'll hold for at least a minute and a half. Stay quietly breathing. Tighten your legs. Keep the weight of your body more towards the elbows here. Don't bring your feet over towards your head. It puts more pressure on the head and neck. And use your hands to keep lifting the back ribs up. Move the tailbone in, the buttocks in. Stretch your inner legs. Press your elbows down. Have a good contact. In Sirsasana, I asked you to really press your forearms. And here in Sarvangasana, it's upper arms that need to press. So you have to press your upper arms down. Keep that outer elbow down. And lift and stretch your legs. Buttocks in. Now let's go for Ekapada Sirsasana. Keep watching your left leg. Keep stretching your left inner leg. Make your legs as straight as we did in Dandasana. And slowly take your right leg towards the floor behind you. Here too, your thighs are straight, your knees are straight, without dropping your right hip. You want to lift that right outer hip. Take your foot down as far as it will go. Keep your knees tight. Keep stretching your left leg, lifting the back. Now bring your leg back up. Reset your legs. Now watch your right leg. Keep stretching your right inner knee, right inner heel, and slowly take the left leg from the hip. Take your attention to that left outer hip. See that it's not dropping. Keep that left outer hip tight. Knees tight. Stretch. And then again, look at your right leg. Roll that right thigh in. Stretch that right leg up. Both have to work equally. So your left and right have to stretch longer and longer. And that actually helps you to keep you more light in the pose. Otherwise, everything feels like it's very heavy and it's falling towards your neck. Now slowly bring your left leg up. Stretch your legs. Stay here for a few moments. Knees tight. Legs tight. Buttocks in. Now we're going to come down to halasana. So one leg at a time. Take your legs down towards the floor. At this stage, you can still work a little actively by lifting your back, resetting your hands. Walk your feet a little further away, but keep lifting your thighs up, pulling the thighs into the hip socket, keeping the outer shoulders down. Lift your upper back, move that dorsal spine in. The more you press your outer shoulders, the more you can lift the sides of your waistline. Keep your legs tight, moving the quadriceps in the direction of your hamstring. You can look at your inner legs. Try to lift them away from your face. You can look at your outer hips. They have to go away from your face. Now you can reach, take the belt off, because in Halasana we can. You can relax your arms back, resting, being in Halasana for a more restful way. Lift from the shoulders, move the whole spine from the top of the shoulders, down the mid-back, upper back, towards the tailbone, extending towards the heel. Now slowly begin to bend your knees, hold your back, and come out. Great. So stay here quiet for a few moments. And then we're going to do Paschimottanasana to cool off before our Shavasana. So you can open up your mat and you can just move your props out. So I'm going to do that. I'll keep this ready. For now, I can use this for my hips. And then I can use the same thing for my head. So Paschimottanasana. Again, you can use a chair. You can go down as much as is possible for you. You can sit higher on a bolster. All that is possible. I'm using, again, minimum props. Except if you note, for Sarvangasana, we always use the props. So in Iyengar Yoga, maybe as you practice, there are certain poses you can maybe not use props, but when it comes to Sarvangasana, we have to use props. And that's just because we hold the pose for a longer period of time, and then it can cause a lot of pressure on the head, on the neck, and so we want to be more on the shoulders. So let's do some Paschimottanasana. So inhale, lift up. But this time it's more for a cooling purpose, so lengthen, release down, and be quiet for a few moments. Let your abdomen soften. Don't work too hard in the pose. Just be there. Actually, I'm going to take a block and let my head rest on the block. And you can do the same. So you can just bring yourself and let your head rest on a block. If it's very difficult to reach your head down to the block, you can also lift your hands up and stay like this. Or maybe your forearms, yeah? Or even one fist on top of the other. But it should be a bit restful now. Spread your back muscles. Relax your face, your jaw, and your throat. Now slowly from there, begin to lift your head up. And we come down to Shavasana. So if you note, I place the blanket here. So I can use the blanket all the way from the base of the neck, but my shoulders are on the mat. Same thing. I roll the outer shoulders, move the shoulder blades in, extend my arms, relax the fingers now. Slowly, one leg at a time, stretch it out. And then let go, be quiet for at least 2 to 3 minutes. Or if you are at home, you can even do a 5-minute Shavasana. Ideally, 5 minutes is best. But for the purpose of the video, we'll just keep it to 2.5 minutes or 3. But please feel free to do it as long as you wish. Relax your arms, your legs. Let go of any tension in the thighs. Relax your tongue. Take your attention to the corners of the eyes. Soften them, the skin around your eyes. Move your awareness to the eyes. Imagine the eyeballs sinking back deeper into your sockets, moving downwards towards the back of the skull. Let go of your jaw. Let go of your tongue. Completely surrender your weight of the body onto the floor. Let loose. For a while, withdraw all the sense organs. You're not interested in what's going on around, and dive within. And stay quiet in Shavasana. Now take another deep, slow, long inhale and exhale. Gently bring your right hand, your left hand, let it rest on your belly. Start to bend your right leg, your left leg. Reach your right upper arm long, roll over to your right upper arm. And then you can bend your arm, supporting your head. And then bring your left hand in front, press into the floor with your inhalation, come up. And here we are again, done with the sequence for week 8. So be well, take care of yourself, and I wish you well on this journey of yoga. And of course, if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything you'd like, any tips, any maybe asana demos, you can always leave a comment and I will try and make that video resource for your practice. Thank you.